Start be good, yo.
What's up, guys? This is the Blue Bridge Podcast. I'm Deck.
I'm DG.
And today we're going to be talking about Steelers per usual. It's going to be, I think, the fifth session of Steel Curtain Sessions. There's some hot topics coming up right now. Of course, we're approaching the end of camp, I want to say. How long do they go about camp? Either way, tomorrow is our first preseason game. We're recording this on Friday. You're probably going to see this later on, but we're anticipating the preseason game, of course. It's at 7 o'clock on Saturday against the Jaguars. Our first topic, I know I'm a little bit more passionate about than D, but I'm going to let him start it off. It's the Cam Heyward contract issue right now that everyone's kind of raving about, as well as I'll add on Boswell, which I don't think that's an issue at all, but I'm going to pass it.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar. I mean, obviously I've seen a lot of posts about it, but I'm not too familiar with how much money he wants or anything like that, but I do know one thing, and that's I definitely want to see Cam Heyward on the field. So if we got to work out a contract that may be absurd to some people because of his age, I think ultimately we got get done what we need to get done in order to see Cam on the field. And that's all I have on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to rival what he just said, but Cam Heyward's contract as a whole last year was reconstructed in order to keep him on, and the whole thing was his age and if he could still perform. So I'll play devil's advocate somewhat in a little bit, but right now I'll give my flowers to Cam. Of course, he's a Hall of Fame player in my opinion. Walter Payton Man of the Year. Great Steeler without a Super Bowl win. One playoff win in 2017. That was the last time he won and the last time we won. So That's not necessarily giving him his flowers. That's just a rundown. But he's been great. But the fact that he got his contract updated last year and then went about his business this year right after the TJ Watt extension to just get a little bit more gold out of it is, I think, is lame. I know he would throw me through like 4 walls. So if you see this, bro, I'm sorry. But I think it comes off as like I understand agents are behind these guys. But when you go into the season with full-on participation in OTAs, minicamp, and now training camp, I feel like that's you telling the team, hey, I'm cool where I'm at. Let's go. You know, like TJ sat out. TJ didn't come to OTAs or minicamp because of money. Cam just got a restructured contract last year. He's now begging for a couple more coins in his pocket just because of his performance last year, which – the problem last year was he thought he was still at the top and a Pro Bowl player. And he proved that. He did. But he signed the dotted line knowing that in his head he was going to perform the way he did this year, getting the same cash. So I'm confused as to why now his agent is kind of using him as a puppet, in my opinion. It's like, I think Cam going into this with his participation was fine with the whole contract. I think his agent's pushing for a little bit more. And I get it. It's like insurance for players. You want to make sure if you're hurt or whatever, you got extra cash. But, I mean, at this point, the guy's rolling. So, yeah. In my opinion, he's being used as a puppet in a lot of ways, and his agent's pushing for something extra, and he kind of has to abide by that rule based on the fact that he's put a lot of his trust into his agent. But I think it's a pansy move, to be honest. I think it's another distraction coming from a guy that was on AR's ass about hey, if you want to be a Steeler, be a Steeler. Well, Cam, if you want to play at almost 40 years old, then just play, bro. You already signed the contract. Let's get it going. Like, I mean, a little bit more extra cash is fine, but the holdout threat that I heard is just lame to me. But you can brush up if you want.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know too much specifically about the topic, but I will say I agree with most things Deck is saying in terms of like things he accomplished and you know him. Would you say he worked out the deal last year?
Yeah, last year was he was threatening to
I
leave
remember.
the team.
I remember all that
for the Browns
and
or the Bengals. One of the two.
It's one of them things. I feel like he plays with us regardless. Maybe he's calling their bluff, or they're waiting to call his bluff. But I think ultimately he'll be on the field. So it's one of them topics where it's like I get it, but I'm not really too much into it because I see how he is around the teammates still being happy, still in all the photos and all them things. So I feel like ultimately he's gonna be with us regardless. So he's just trying to get his money. Whether that's right or wrong, not really up for me to say. But if I'm giving my thoughts on it, I think he's just seeing what he could do because he's at the tail end of his career. So he wants to see how much money he could get on his way out, which, to Deck's point, could be viewed as lame. But it's one of those things like it's probably a pride thing too. You're seeing everyone get paid, and now you just want to try to get yours as well. So I understand it from his perspective. From a fan perspective, it's like you're getting older. You're not getting any younger. So wanting to, I don't know. And to Deck's point too about him calling out Aaron Rodgers. Now there, I feel like that is lame because you're calling out someone, but yet you're not following up on the same word. So
it's hypocritical to an extent.
It is.
For sure.
It is. So that's why I kind of feel like he's just seeing. He's putting his cards on the table to see what he could get out of it, I feel like. So
yeah. And I'll finish up on that. Like, I'll respect the Cam, great player. Last year, I think we gave him a $15 million. Justin, was it about $15 million? We got a fax guy a little bit. Not $15 million as a whole, of course, for the year, I think. And he made 13 M's. His bonus, he got even more with that for his signing bonus or something of that nature. What I'm getting at is he got his bag for an old vet like that. And yes, he performed at a Pro Bowl level. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, like I said earlier, he signed the dotted line and he had the confidence within himself that he was going to do that. Now you flip over to this year. It's a late time period, in my opinion, to beg for some more money while also claiming to be that team guy. And he knows we have different areas to still address with the end of camp coming up. Yeah. We're going to need a wide receiver too. So for you to try to get a little extra buck, I get it, man. It's insurance on your career. It's respect from the Steelers organization for how great of a player you've been. But, man, Cam Heyward this, Cam Heyward that, great player. I have your jersey, bro. Love you. Give me a Super Bowl, and then we can pay you. That sounds crazy, but, bro, if you're an old player on this list, let that money go to some young bucks, bro. We obviously haven't been doing something right. So you've been doing everything right. It's just if you're a team guy like you say you are, you got your bread, relax. We need a wide receiver too. Let them spend some money on that. I'm going to move on. Quickly, I'm going to say Chris Boswell, he wants for him to be the highest paid kicker with Justin Tucker out of the league now. I think he needs $1.3 million more. Pay the man. I think he's only making 5 M's right now. So pay the man. It's that easy.
Yeah,
honestly, pay him $3 million. He was our most valuable player last year.
He single-handedly won us a bunch of games. So
yeah,
you definitely got to pay Boswell. Yeah. I mean, he's one again. He'll sign a deal regardless, in my opinion. But he's looking to get his money. So
I do want him on a short deal though, because I heard today on 93.7 The Fan, local Pittsburgh radio, that our backup kicker, which I did not know this, did we draft him? I think we may have. He was like kicker of the year in college football or something crazy like that. Like pretty much as of now, name-wise on paper, we're set up to have Boswell retire and then we get a whole nother great kicker. So that sounds great. And I don't mean make it too short. I just think, Boswell's obviously going to age at some point. He's getting there, I'm pretty sure, in terms of football age. I'm not saying in actual real life. But move on from that. The depth charts as a whole, I'll let D take this. I don't remember everything off the top of my head. If I laid it out in my brain right now, I probably could.
Yeah, neither do I, and that's why I got it pulled up.
There you go.
Wide receiver 1, we got DK Metcalf. Wide receiver 2, we got Calvin Austin. Second string, we got Robert Woods. Also second string, we have Scotty Miller. Third string, Roman Wilson. And I'm gonna kind of stop there.
Thank God. I thought it was gonna be a lecture.
But starting off with DK, obviously DK and Calvin, we know that's our wide receivers 1 and 2. Roman Wilson being behind Robert Woods and also being behind, who was the other guy?
He's behind Robert
Scotty
Woods
Miller.
and Scotty Miller, which that's alarming.
Yeah. So basically with that kind of puts a damper on last week's take, I feel like, a little bit.
It does, but what I'm going to say might come back a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I got some in the tank.
I'll say, yeah, we don't know how, like, we're not super into the training camp, so I don't really know exactly how Roman Wilson's performing, but it seems like he's been struggling just a little bit. And since this list has came out, we've learned that he's been playing better. So maybe it lit a fire under him. Also, that's going to bring me into another topic with Aaron Rodgers and the call out on Roman Wilson, saying that he's in his head and he kind of looks for reassurance from Aaron Rodgers and for him to just, ball. Some people took it as, oh, here Aaron Rodgers goes, blaming his teammates again. But I think that's constructive criticism because it's not like he was diminishing him as a player. He spoke about how good he was as a player. It's not like he's saying a bunch of negative things without positively constructing him. So I think my take on that is just, maybe he has more talent than what he's showing, and that's because he's in his head a little bit. And that can happen being in year 2, coming off a year where you didn't get to play at all. Now you're playing with a Hall of Fame quarterback, so maybe he's just a little nervous out there. But ultimately, I think Roman Wilson is for Aaron Rodgers to say that tells me that he could get on the right track. It's something that's fixable. Like, the talent's there, everything's there. He just basically has to get out of his own head.
You were speaking over here a little bit.
All right,
My bad, yo. My bad. We'll cut that.
I can't cut, bro.
Are you good on that though? My bad.
Yep.
All right. To get to the exacts of what was said, I'm gonna still be somewhat paraphrasing. Rodgers said that he's a great kid and he cares about my approval so much, as well as just like critiques on his game. And he said he just needs to get out of his head. But he also said the guy's so talented once he gets out of his head, like, the sky's the limit. That phrase itself spoke to me in a way of exactly what I flipped the page with Rodgers. I wasn't too hype about him coming in, but he's been such a football guy, such a teammate. And that's what I'm going to get over into with that comment real quickly is just I think this is a guy, maybe even more than Ben, from like just this early time period. I'm not going to hop too fast. That really will make others around him better. And that is like one of his definitive traits. I'm not saying every organization that's followed him. I mean, you got a guy like Jordan Love out there that said Rodgers was the best mentor, blah, blah, blah. You got multiple of his receivers that love him to death. Devontae Adams, of course, is the most notable one. I don't think the guy's been a cancer to the degree that we've made him out to be in the mainstream media. But to get into the Wilson stuff, I think from what I heard, he had a crazy day in a good way. After that comment, he actually started like going off a little bit. And I also, to tie that in with the depth chart, I think that was a orchestrated move somewhat by our organization, because these are unofficial depth charts that they're releasing. They can change. Just like any football team, the depth chart can change by mid-season, second week. And I think that was kind of a way to tell them, hey, like, pick it up, honestly, because I don't see how Scotty Miller is a guy that you're going to hit before Roman Wilson. I don't care if I've seen him play it down. Scotty Miller is a guy that I respect. I mean, he's reliable in some ways, but he's not going to be on the end of the game.
He made a big
interview.
play.
Yeah.
In the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much what people know him for.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Scotty, for making a big play. Not on our team. You're great. Yeah, I mean, Roman Wilson is, I think, going to still be a really good player. I think they're trying to push him a little bit on the depth chart. I'm not saying I do know you said we didn't pay attention to that. I do know that's one thing I looked at to make sure, and he actually has been performing really well ever since that. So maybe a fire got lit under him. I really hope so. I'm looking forward to that guy being a contributor, mostly if we don't acquire a wide receiver or two. To move on from that, talking about, you want to get into the next one?
With the
Will.
Actually, you can start off with that one.
All right. I'm a Will Howard fan. I've voiced that, and I will thoroughly voice that until his chance ends. And I don't want to say it's ended entirely, but the road just got a lot harder because as much as I've said I'm a Will Howard fan, I do think with the draft being in Pittsburgh, I'm not saying the aesthetic is what matters, but you got to think all these comp picks, I've said this, drafts in Pittsburgh, we need a damn quarterback after Aaron Rodgers. He has 1 year. You can't put all your hope into a 6-rounder like Will Howard, although we love him. We love what he could be. And now that he's injured for the portion of the year that we would be able to see him get game snaps, that's even more of a indication that we're probably going to pick up a guy in the first round or second round, quarterback-wise. Does that fully derail him from the possibility of becoming a quarterback starter in this league? No. Do I think it derails him 75%? I'm going to say it derails him 75% from being a starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the future. I know it's 3 games, but you need something to work with. Mm-hmm. And if you draft a guy in the first round, you're not going to say, hey, buddy, we're actually just going to have you sit over here. Will's going to be our franchise guy. That's just not happening. So it sucks to see for him, but I really do think that guy's going to start in the league one day. I just don't think it's going to be with us. That's my take.
Okay. I definitely see where Deck's coming from in his take. I kind of disagree a little, just to an extent, because from what we've seen from Will Howard so far, I think everyone could agree it looks promising. And with the fan base like Steeler Nation, you know, we're so overreacted to everything we see. I mean, if Will Howard was to go out there in the preseason game and maybe not play as well, people would be overreactive to that and probably say we need to draft the number 1 pick. All these picks we have, draft being in Pittsburgh, let's go get a quarterback, this, that, and the third. So I feel like it's one of those things. Preseason, it will definitely help his stock to play if he performed really well. And, you know, he looks like he's like how Kenny Pickett did, and we just thought the world of him. But I also think it could hurt him in the aspect of, well, if he did roll out there and not play as well, you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of the fans will write him off rip without him being able to show us anything. So the fact that he's not playing at all, we'll kind of hang our hats on what we've seen from him during training camp, and it'll keep us on the edge of our seat to at least see him be able to, contribute at some point. And we'll want to see it compared to, you know, if he went out there in preseason. I'm pretty sure if he had one bad game or had one pick, you know how Steeler Nation is. So we'll probably write him off right then and there. So it's one of those things where, I don't know. I still like Will Howard. I still think he could. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is on a 1-year contract, and we have all these picks next year, and we can easily build around a guy like Will Howard. I mean, he showed promising things. So I'm not going to write him off because he messed up a thumb. You know what I mean? I'm not going to write him off because of that. But to Deck's point, this was an opportunity for him to be able to showcase what he could bring to the table. But being a young guy, you never know how those things could go in the preseason anyway. So it's
I'm going to brush up on that right quick. I apologize because I'm scatterbrained. I'll throw this out there. Mike Tomlin's presser that I watched today, he did say that we know how he answers questions. He says certainly when someone says, could you see the possibilities, such as when last year they were like, could you see Justin Fields being a starter in this league? And he says certainly. Which that's how the guy carries himself. He's very intelligent. He knows how to answer questions. He's more PR trained than probably anybody in the world, honestly, at this point. That's probably a stretch, but he's very good with talking to the media. But he did say that the possibility of Will Howard coming back for the next 2 preseason games, or at least one of them, is high enough. Like, he didn't count it out. So I'll give Will that. And I feel like I'm getting emotional saying, like, oh, it's done. There's still practice. There's still things that coaches with way more intellect than me or DG, of course, when it comes to football, can spectate on him. They can see certain things. And Dees makes a really good point. I mean, he's a guy surrounded by so much talent in college. What if we use every pick we have next year to get the best guy available each time and mostly focus on an offensive approach? That would probably be pretty scary. I mean, you see San Francisco, like their quarterback situation. What's his name again? For some reason. Yeah, I mean, I'm not hating on the guy. He's, good quarterback in this league. I'd say not great, but he's doing his thing, and he's surrounded by talent, or he has been.
Jared Goff, Jared Goff is pretty good, but just putting those type of weapons around any type of quarterback. Jalen Hurts, we put the best team around Jalen Hurts, he looks like a all-star.
Yeah. So I'd say it would sting less if we put Will Howard out there with a lot of people rather than getting another first-round quarterback and having Kenny Part 2 where we're like, okay, is this guy going to be good? Oh, yeah, he did good. Oh, never mind. Like, I'm not ready for that again. I'll probably get pretty depressed. I might not make these podcasts anymore if that happens. So I'm just kidding. But, yeah, to move on from that, I actually do think it's possible, like Mike Thomas said, for Will Howard to get some in-game time. The reason I think it could be the end for the possibility of him starting for us is because these are big reps. And I hate when people discount preseason because there's guys earning roster spots. There's guys trying to feed their families off of this. And that's what Will Howard's probably aiming to do himself, is make a name. And next year would be his chance to do so again. And it would just suck to not see him in a game at all until then, because we know AR is going to be at the quarterback position for the whole year pretty much. And Mason Rudolph will come in if not, as of now. I'm going to let DG get into this next topic because I think it goes to his heart a little bit. So we're going to get into GP's comments.
Yeah. It's definitely a topic I wanted to speak on.
I'm just playing. It ain't getting too hard.
Just because I feel like it was just dumb to say. But, yeah, I'm referring to GP's comments about Steelers not being basically like a Super Bowl franchise like the Cowboys, and the way he worded it, which I just feel like was like raised bait, like engaged bait, but he engaged me. So I'll just say about that, I just feel like he's still a little bit like he missed us a little bit. Like, for you to go to a new situation and it's so perfect there, it's so good there. And you just
I'm sorry, he wrote, is he still salty?
I think he is a little bit. Like, I feel like he probably wanted to be a Steeler, and he probably wanted the Steelers to give in to him, and that's just letting him walk away, probably mess with his pride a little bit. So I think he is a little bit salty, and I think, he's going to do good things with the Cowboys. I don't doubt it, but if everything's so good over there, why he keeps sending little jabs at the Steelers, and I just look at it like
pointless.
Because
you're not even in our division, bro.
Yeah, I just
you're in the NFC, we're in the AFC.
By him doing what he's doing is basically, to my point, him trying to belittle our franchise is like, you know what you had here. That's why you're making these type of comments. Because I'm pretty sure if you came from the Bears, well, I ain't gonna say the Bears, they're pretty historic, but who? I don't know, maybe the Buccaneers or somebody.
Yeah.
The Browns. You're not going to even be speaking about it. You're just going to be happy about the situation you're in because you're off the Browns. But clearly, I feel like there's something there.
Yeah. I mean,
that's all I got to say.
Two great organizations. Hate Cowboys. Don't like their fans unless they're my friends. Not going to get into the Steelers-Cowboys rivalry other than, man, they've been our sons, to be honest, like back in the day. Like, we used to beat them in the Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure they got one on us. They have a good amount of Super Bowls over there, but either way, go back to the clip of Jack Lambert throwing Cliff Harris on his neck. Go back to that if you're interested in a fun watch. That's just kind of, and I think it embodies the entire rivalry. Like, we used to smack them for real. Those are our sons, in my opinion. Like, and you could bring up the stats. I'm sure they beat us in some Super Bowls. I wasn't alive, but what I do know is, for him to say that they're the Super Bowl organization, they're always in the Super Bowl. That's what they're like associated with. I hate being a Steeler fan mostly because my pride has diminished slightly. Not to be a Steeler fan, but to bring up the exact numbers. I hate being like 6 rings. I used to do that all the time growing up. Now we haven't won a playoff game in damn near a decade. I'm not going to be the Steeler fan that says 6 rings. It's getting lame. It's getting outplayed. But right now I'll say it. We got fucking 6 rings. What do you guys have? 5, I think 4, but you still can't say that we're less known.
They haven't made the Super Bowl in 30 years. Let me just throw that out there. 30 years. I'm actually 24 years old. So yeah. Negative 6 years from when I was born was the last time the Cowboys made a Super Bowl. So that I just feel like that comment was just dumb.
Bad comment. Horrible comment.
I think that comment he made just showed how much he like misses the Steelers in a way, because like you gotta do your homework on things like that. You gotta know that the Cowboys haven't even made the NFC Championship in the last 30 years. So
yeah. And I'm a big fan of George. I really love his play. Now, I ain't gonna lie, that comment is making me question his intellect, although I think his ulterior motive was just to piss people like me off. So good job. You probably did it. You did do it. You want to move on from that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what to expect in tomorrow's game would be our next topic. I'll let D get into that first if you want.
Yeah. Tomorrow's game. And what I expect is just to see a bunch of hungry dudes trying to make a roster and playing their hearts out. I feel like we always get that one somebody who shows out during the preseason.
Yeah, Herbig a couple years ago.
Herbig. I think we had a couple years ago. We had that one. He was like number 80. I don't even think he made the team, but wideout that was playing.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I actually do, because we were all hype on him. I mean, I'm not necessarily us as a tandem, but me and my dad were definitely hype on him. I don't remember his name though.
Me either. So, but if we're talking from a rookie perspective, guys that we drafted and that we know, there might be someone that we're not even covering right now who might make an impact tomorrow. But guys that I'm excited to see, I would say Rock Taylor. I'm gonna start there. I'm excited to see what he does. Been hearing the buzz about him during training camp, so I want to see if he could put something together. Rudolph is playing, right?
Yeah, should be. And they also signed a quarterback, I think, that played with Arthur Smith at maybe Atlanta or something. The Titans, maybe. Either way, he may get playing time, but I'm sure he doesn't know the playbook at all yet. Right. But with Arthur Smith being his ex-coach, maybe.
So, yeah, Rock Taylor. Of course, Caleb Johnson. I think Caleb Johnson is actually the number one guy I want to see.
Same here.
Jack Sawyer, Yaya Black, Derek Harmon. I want to see Peyton Wilson. I just want to see how comfortable he looks taking on that leader role in a linebacker room for the preseason. So I want to see how he looks. That's about it. I would say Will Howard, he's not playing. That's about it.
Yeah, Will Howard not playing kind of took a lot out of me, as most Steelers fans would agree. It took some air out of my stomach, but still things to look forward to with Will Howard not being in. I would agree with you. Caleb Johnson is probably my number one person to look out for. I want to see him really erupt, though. I want to see like 2 tutties. Give me like 100-plus yards. Sounds a lot to ask, but I just want to see something happen. I think he has the talent to do so. I'm not going to underestimate the talent that's out there as people trying to feed their families, like I said. But preseason game, I expect him to be at a high level even in the regular season, just from his aura, honestly. And I'm not trying to glaze right now. I'm just saying I think the guy actually really is the real deal. As much as I love Najee, I think this guy could really be a big deal for us. So I'm, of course, excited to see him. I'm excited somewhat to see Fautanu because I'm guessing he'll play in this, being that he hasn't hardly had game snaps, and I've heard he's been excellent in camp. We said that last week. He's won more one-on-ones against TJ since our last episode. He is looking impressive from what I hear. I'm not going to go into Broderick, but of course, apparently he had his best day at camp not long ago, although he wasn't going up against the TJ Watts and Alex Highsmiths. He was going up against Nick Herbig, but as you know on this show, we're big fans of Nick Herbig, and they were both giving each other problems. Pretty sure Broderick got the best out of him. So maybe Broderick will play tomorrow. I don't think I saw him on the list of people that aren't playing. I'm not going to go through the whole list. You know, the Jalen Ramseys of the world, right. AR, all these people. You could probably pretty much pick out who's not going to play tomorrow. It's the guys that you're probably wearing their jersey right now.
Well, Broderick is playing tomorrow. That's another guy who I'm definitely excited to see. I just want to see him play with confidence out there. I feel like that's the one thing he's missing. Like when you're first round draft pick and you don't pan out off the rip, sometimes that just messes with your confidence and you never get back to form. So I'm interested to see if he can. If we're talking about who we think will stand out, were you done?
A little bit. No, I could go back in there. You're good.
Go back in. You're good before we go into the next topic.
I ain't gonna lie, I might merge some of these topics together, but that's just it makes sense for now. In terms of people I'm looking forward to watch, I said Caleb Johnson. Fautanu is one of them for sure. I've been hearing so much about him in training camp. I'm real high on him. Of course, as a guy that just looks at football as like a non-popularity contest, I'm excited to see each and every person because I love a good underdog. I love a good backstory. Like if I hear some stuff tomorrow, we're gonna see people. We're gonna be high on people next week that we didn't even know their name. But I'll go through the list of people on defense I'm really happy to see. Mike Tomlin gave the green dot to Peyton Wilson. I don't think he'll get too many snaps. The guy's already a starter. Depth chart wise, of course, we already knew that. He's a starter, but for him to get the green dot, I think that's to solidify his confidence as the play caller. And like I said in the past, I think he's going to be the number one guy on the defense in years to come. And I think he's going to take over that role from Patrick Queen, and he's going to be able to play a bit more freely and just do his athletic thing. Speaking on Patrick Queen, of course. And when I get on to the other part of defense, I'm really excited to see Yahya Black. I've heard crazy reports about him. Like when I say crazy, just plentiful reports about him smacking balls, giving people problems as a whole in the past pro game. Wild. Giving people problems like that. So I'm excited to see him play because, of course, he's a rookie. He's not a high round guy, maybe like fourth. I forget. Yeah. Either way, I've heard good things about him for a guy that didn't get drafted high. And one thing I'm going to speak on, maybe this rivals Caleb Johnson. I'd say my main offensive force I want to see is Caleb. Defensively, I really want to see Jack Sawyer. And to get into that, if you're cool with me getting into that topic, I don't think these lists always mean everything, these unofficial rosters and depth charts. But for him to be up on Leal, I think it is, he's second string behind TJ on the left side, and he's in front of Leal, actually. So it goes Jack Sawyer / Leal, and this is a guy straight from college. And another thing just aesthetically to get into is this guy's huge. Stand beside TJ Watt, he towers over him. I don't know what was in my mind. I thought he was like 6 foot even. Like, I don't know why, but I thought he was just more of a muscle guy lower to the ground. Also, they did a get-off drill. I saw a video on Twitter of him.
He won his first one.
Yeah, he won that against TJ, Highsmith, and Herbig, and he's just laughing about it at that point. Like, the guy, I really think this guy might be our insurance for TJ. That's why we signed him to a less large deal. You would think Herbig would be that guy, but I don't know. I'm not saying this guy would be the pass rusher Herbig is, but this guy's gigantic. I think he's going to play aggressive football for us. I think he's going to be a game wrecker eventually, so I'm excited for that. I'm kind of hitting every area, but honestly, I want to say I kind of hit everything that we got. That's my bad.
Nah, you're good. Well, I'll say I'm going to just start here then with who I think personally who will stand out. I could talk about just tomorrow, but I want to talk about over the course of the preseason. I think, again, Caleb Johnson is going to be – I don't know if he'll stand out, actually, now I think about it, because he's not playing with the first string O line, you never know. But I think he'll have a lot of sample size of big plays to where we'll be like, yeah, he's with the starting O line and with the first team, he's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
To go in with Payne Wilson, I think he'll stand out. I think he has to stand out. If he doesn't stand out, yeah, I think we'll be a little bit worried or a little bit concerned if he doesn't at least stand out a little bit. So I'll put him in that category. And I want to see, we've heard so much about, I know he said Yaya Black, and I'm impressed by him as well, but Derek Harmon, our first round pick, I think he has to stand out.
Of course.
I think he will too.
Yeah.
From everything we've been hearing, they say he's the full package, like pass rushing, big play capability in the backfield. He's just that long, rangy defensive tackle where he reminds me of, I think I've said it before on this show, but Chris Jones. So I think those would be my top 3 candidates for, just breaking out. I don't know how much rec Payne Wilson will get. Maybe it's just let's see what he does this game. If he balls out, probably won't play him too much the rest of the preseason. But the other 2 guys I named, and Jack Sawyer, I want to see Jack. I think Jack Sawyer will stand out. I think we'll look at him like, yeah, I see why we put him at number 2. Yeah. And to go in on that a little bit, him being over Leo on the depth chart, it's crazy to think a little bit because Leo has been like pretty productive when he's gotten his opportunities. But in the same breath, I think Jack Sawyer is just like someone honestly, until I heard about this topic, I honestly forgot about Leo being on our team. So I really think Jack Sawyer is just someone we're all excited to see. So if you're a Steelers fan, of course. So him being over Leo, I guess Leo's one of those guys that I feel like they want someone to take his spot, honestly. Like they're not looking at Leo as someone that's going to really contribute. He's more of a depth guy. So I think they're looking at Jack Sawyer like, we expect him to come in and contribute. So on that aspect of it, I don't think it's that crazy. But just seeing Leo be able to make plays when he was called upon, I guess you could say that's pretty crazy because of his experience and everything. So, but like Dex said, it could be propaganda. These are not official depth charts. So it could be to motivate or whatever the case, but that's my take.
Yeah, man, Jack Sawyer, I think that's going to be the steal of the draft for us and possibly the steal of the draft, period. Seriously. I'm just starting to think like this guy's a football player. He could end up being the real deal.
Did you let that get off video like get you like that though?
Not the get off, man, just what I've heard. Like, honestly, I'm not going to lie. What's really getting to me is the size on that guy.
Okay, yeah, he's huge.
That's really getting to me because size isn't everything. But, all right, bro, size isn't everything. Dang, I'm going too far. Size isn't what makes a football player. But when you see him towering over TJ Watt, it's like, oh, my God, the guy, that doesn't even make sense to me. I'm going to have to go watch it back because TJ Watt's listed as 6'4". Like, what is this guy? Shaquille, bro? That's crazy. But to get off that topic, I'm not even trying to end it. But the last thing I could say about tomorrow in terms of specific players is I'll put an honorable mention out there. I am excited to see Rock Woods, right? Woods?
Rock Taylor?
Rock Taylor, my bad. I don't know what made me think Woods. Yeah, Rock Taylor. I don't even know his name right now. See, we got a facts guy over here. But, yeah, I think he is a sleeper because I could see Jack Sawyer run. I could see him get 5 sacks tomorrow. I could see Caleb Johnson do his little thing. And at the end of the day, we got TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Jalen Warren, and Kenneth Gainwell. All great players. All going to contribute at a high level. When it comes to that wide receiver room, of course, we have DK. But behind him, I love Calvin, but, bro, like, if DK goes down, that's the guy we got. That's it. At that point, with Roman being kind of wavering, I need to see somebody that we're at a position to need step up and show their wings. So that's probably what I'll be paying attention to a lot tomorrow is
Is
the
Calvin playing?
receivers.
I don't know if he's playing. I think he's out with an undisclosed injury.
Yeah,
but
he is injured somewhat.
I don't know. I think Calvin Austin's he's gonna have one of them seasons. We're gonna be like, yeah.
Let's hope.
I think so. I don't think we gotta hope about this one. I think he's shown strides.
Yeah.
Every year. So I feel like he's due. I feel like he's due. He's gonna shut a lot of people up.
He snapped a lot of games last year. I really like him. I fear for the depth in that room. But
yeah, me too.
I'm not gonna close it like if you want us to keep going, but just to close at least the preseason, like I said, I'm excited to see a bunch of guys that have fought their whole life. Like, I'm not trying to be a philosophic person, but they fought their whole life for this moment. So it's always fun to watch preseason. It's very pure and authentic football. You see guys with real emotions behind them, not begging for contracts, just simply begging for a team to give them a chance. So we can appreciate that as football lovers, as football watchers. Like, it's great to see guys go out there and grind. I know a lot of people say preseason isn't real football. Maybe not to you because you already made your mills and already been played your whole career. But to these guys that probably, came from nothing and all that, it's a big deal. So I'm going to love to see that as a whole, both teams. In terms of our team, I'm going to be looking out for guys that I think could help us in years to come or even this year. So that's all I really have to say. Preseason is a fun time. Now that I'm older and I understand it more, it's fun. I used to think this is boring. This is a scrimmage. Like, nah, these are guys that could possibly help you out in the future / like I just said, this year. So, yeah, we'll be on the lookout. Definitely, it might be a week after, but we're going to have our thoughts for it. Thoughts from that game itself. So, yeah.
I think right there we're going to wrap it up. So, thank you for tuning in, everyone. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And just give us feedback, things that's, or just interact with us. It don't necessarily even have to be feedback. If you want to give us feedback, we'll take it in constructively, but just interact with us because that helps us know what you guys want to see and what you guys want to hear us talk about, and it gives us a better overall understanding. So overall, though, I want to say thank you guys, everyone who's supporting. Like Dak said in the past, we don't care if it's one viewer, 40, 100, or 1,000. We appreciate your time, especially if you made it this far.
I care if it's 1,000. That'd be cool. No, I'm playing. I'm just playing, but yeah. Much love to everybody that's even just taking their time out to watch this. In terms of production and whatnot, my brother's done a lot for us. He's doing real good behind the scenes. We have a black screen if you're watching this on your phone around it because this is recorded on iPad. I have a camera, but I'm not exactly in love with how it's working. So we're working on trying to get like an actual legit video camera in here in terms of getting better video quality. And yeah, everything all around. We're working. We've been saying this. It's a work in progress, but I do think in terms on the quality of the content you're putting out, that overrides the quality of audio / video. And I'm not like saying we're the greatest ever, but I'm happy with what we're doing. I think we're doing what we solely set out to do, and that's talk two guys on the couch talking Pittsburgh Steelers football for at least this segment. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, y'all. We out. Peace.